Yeah, yes. Hello, my name's Christopher List. I'm actually from Lehman College. I have a question. So in this case, should you like adjust the content that each student learns? How will you then proctor exams for students that have taken like differing paths in each course? Because now
Those
you have to
It's
adjust the
automated.
exams.
Yes. So the exams are actually offered on the same system. So it's again, the student take the exam right after the content. So they watch the videos, they learn the material, and then they can take the exam in the same learning management system in Swam 2.0. It's not proctored, it's online.
Chris, we're also working on a recommender system, but that's for the next presenter to talk about.
No, but the thing is, I hear the talk. I think Chris is talking more about how do you administer the exams. So the exams are done online, and with all honesty, our philosophy here, I think I know that personally. I learned that from Miklos. We should not focus on that. That's our philosophy. We focus more on the learning of the students as opposed to assessment. So we focus more on the knowledge, on providing them with the knowledge, as opposed to focusing on the exams themselves or the tests. Now, one of the things that can be done in this case, like you can always introduce, for instance, like a ProctorU and any of these AI, like online proctoring. This is exactly like taking those online quizzes or tests that schools have done through the pandemic. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, because what I was first thinking when you were introducing the topic was just that might be a little tedious to give an exam for all of those students who, because I'm thinking you might just create an exam rather than actually have the system help with the proctoring.
No, it's
So
generated.
Each module has its own quiz. So this is rather than having one exam. So each module, you finish the module because let's say like you took a course and I took a course, but the content is different for us, right?
Yep.
You selected 5 modules and I selected different module. Every single time you finish a module, there's a quiz associated with that. You finish the quiz, you pass that module. And then the final grade is a combination of the grades for all 5 modules. That would be your grade for the course itself.
See, it's that's a lot easier.
That's the only way. And honestly, the first time we offered it, there was an issue with the final exam, so we had to do it slightly different, and it was like really tedious because the system wasn't allowing us to do that. So for the final exam, we couldn't do it that way, and for that one, we had to select it. It was kind of like different, so we had to do it in a way that would talk about all the topics. So basically, it was more of an essay-based short questions, and that was very difficult to grade. That's not possible. You see, I didn't talk about enrollments. When we started, we expected 20. We ended up with having 200, and then later on, when Noureddin and Washal started to also teach, the numbers have increased to like even 100, like 300, 400. So it's with time, people are getting more familiar with it. People have started to know more about it, whether advisors, whether like the school or the students, they started to talk about it. We started to have more and more students. At this point, if it is not something automated, you would have a lot more trouble handling it as instructor. Did I answer your question, Chris?
Yes, thank you very much.
My pleasure. I know you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Really interesting topic. I wanted to find out, does your completion of the stackables certificates lead to a degree? And is this kind of a parallel system compared to the traditional student completing the core requirements after 4 years and then graduating?
Actually, they can stack up to a degree. It depends on like what you take. So you have like currently the stackables that we have, they have different programs at the graduate level mostly. So at the graduate level, we don't have enough content for the undergraduates to finish the whole like 150 credit requirements or something like that for the CPA exam. But what we have at this point is that if the students actually accumulate those, like they take 1 credit and then they can actually accumulate it into a certificate with a concentration in AIS in the stackable, for example, MBA program, that can actually work. And eventually, if you have multiple or enough courses taken, then yes, you can actually earn that degree. Nothing prevents you. So this depends on what each school can offer.
Right. This is very
like
helpful.
A replacement of traditional courses.
Thank you.
Theo, my pleasure. Theo, you had a question?
Yeah, I love the idea of the different modules, and I was saying that this could solve a problem with creating electives. I like the idea that tell my students that we can have a course where you design your own, you add whatever you want. But same like Christopher, I have the issue with the grading, with the evaluation, because if the material is the same one that many students can take, I bet that if we start looking on Reddit or some kind of course here or somewhere else, you're going to find the answers to all of the quiz questions.
This is true, and this is a challenge of any test bank that is used. That's just it's a universal problem, I guess, unless you're using objective, like as long as you are using some kind of like objective answers, like multiple choice questions, etc. If you're using essay type questions or short essay or open-ended questions, this is the only way that you can actually have different answers. But if you are going to use multiple choice questions, there's always a risk of it ending in Chegg or in Course Hero. Now, one of the things that we are trying to do as well is to have an algorithmic question, like pools of questions for each assessment, but that's not always easy. So that was one of the things that, like, okay, this is just one module. So if the students, if students wants to cheat, they will cheat regardless, as long as they are not proctored in person and someone is standing on top of their, like just next to their screen, they will always try to cheat if they want to cheat. That's one of the reasons why we thought, okay, let's focus more on providing them with the knowledge rather than focusing more on or worrying about those questions, etc. That's because at a certain point, it's becoming almost impossible for us as instructors it's becoming like increasingly difficult for us as instructors to actually prevent or limit cheating. I know that, like, it's becoming, even in our regular courses, it's a lot more difficult than others. That's why we supplement it usually with 3 credit courses. You would supplement it with like a group projects with different types of assessments to kind of make it more difficult, right? So if someone wants to cheat on a specific topic, like on the assignment, they are caught in the quizzes or the exams. And this mode of learning, we're providing them with the learning, and it's basically the questions that are asked. That's true. They can end up, but they are not a test bank. They are completely different. Plus, if you take 5 modules, that you only took 5 modules out of 40, for instance. So in this case, they are not going to be, it's not the whole practice questions, that it's not all the questions that will be that will land in Chegg. It will be maybe like for those specific questions. And if the student is Googling the answers and trying to find the answers, well, we assume that at this point they may have learned the material as well. Plus, there's another thing that allows us monitor if students have cheated. You know, the Lena, the learning analyzer, one of the things that we wanted to see is how much time they spent on the videos, etc. So if someone spent 5 minutes, 5 seconds and got all the answers right, that's an indication that they cheated. If they actually watched all the videos, then they learned the material. At this point, there's less worry about them cheating. You see my point here? So we can actually analyze someone who has someone who, for example, just went ahead and answered the questions. That means they found the answers somewhere. It's a challenge. I know this is one of the challenges. I should have added it to the challenge, but this is the same challenge that any test bank has. Any online exams, unless you are proctoring it, this is always a challenge.